Since the beginning of 1945 until 1980, the USA and the USSR faced an indirect conflict in Germany. After the war, the Allies, as a reward for their victory, got hold of Germany, which had to be split between the winners. The USSR and the USA had very different political and economic views, and therefore entered a conflict where a wall was built separating their parts of the country. The wall divided Berlin into East Berlin and West Berlin. In this video, we will be interviewing Mr. Peter Andrews on his visit to Berlin during the period of the Cold War.
Okay, the thing I remember most, and this is really striking, and I know it sounds maybe a little cliche, but I'm here to tell you it's true. We spent about 3 days in West Berlin and just had a wonderful time. I can remember going to a restaurant with an American jazz band playing and eating well and just having a great time, meeting all sorts of people and being colorful and fun and joyful. And I have to say, being kind of a sense of wealth as well. And then when we traveled from West Berlin into East Berlin, it was like moving from a color photograph to a black and white photograph. I mean, it really was incredible. The actual crossing, we were through checkpoint Charlie. The actual crossing itself was very, very intimidating, but it was made much easier because I told you my friend spoke a number of languages, and one of the languages he was fluent in was German, and everything was in German. Nothing in English. And particularly when we entered East Germany, to be an American in East Germany, East Berlin during the height of the Cold War was really, I have to say, an unsettling thing. It made me nervous, and if I hadn't had a lesser with me who spoke and understood German, I think I would have been really scared. I can remember the passport control, the East German border guards being up in one of those bulletproof glass kind of offices, but way up high, looking down at me. Not eye level, but looking down, and really intimidating. And several minutes holding my passport, looking at it very carefully, staring at me, looking at me, getting another guard coming over to look at my photo and look at me to confirm that I really was who I was saying I was, It was definitely very intimidating. And lots and lots of soldiers with machine guns all around. And you have to remember, I was from New York, so the United States was fighting a Cold War, an indirect war with the Soviet Union. So I was the kind of the enemy, if you will, and I was surrounded. So that was really quite striking. The difference between the lifestyle and the standard of living of the two peoples was just so striking that I never forgot that. And the kind of sadness and what felt like, kind of lack of a feeling of hopelessness in the East, and the very low standard of opportunity, standard of living and lack of opportunity was just very, very striking. That was a tremendous feeling. I mean, the Berlin Wall fell down, to do the math on this, 12 years after I was there. And in those 12 years, I'd graduated, I lived and taught in New York, and was in my second or third year here at Kazel. And it was striking. I mean, I think that being in West Berlin and East Berlin, having seen the wall, and it made me perhaps empathize a little bit more with, or be able to identify a little bit more. I'm not saying my situation was like that, but since I was there, I could feel a little bit the absolute joy that the West and East Germans were experiencing that day. The other thing I'd like to add to that, it's a slightly different angle on it, but is when the wall fell, it was a complete surprise to all of us. It was really an incredibly powerful experience and totally unexpected. we didn't know.